What's going on, guys? Welcome to a Granblue Fantasy Guide video. In this video, we're going to be showcasing how to do the highest amount of damage and going over the damage cap in this video. Now, to showcase this, we're going to have some sigils that only increase our damage and nothing else, no other perks on right now. Now, we'll go ahead and head to the training dummy in order to showcase this. Now, to begin with, before we explain the damage cap, we need to explain critical hits. So if you guys don't know what critical hits are in this game, it's any of those hits that have the double exclamations. As you see, there's some small ones that aren't having double exclamations. Try to ignore those when we are paying attention to if our attacks are hitting the damage cap. Because if you have low crit attacks like that, you're going to be like, I'm not always hitting the damage cap, I might be good. So try to disregard those because you're going to want to not be having low critical hit chance if possible in the future. So this attack right here was a critical hit chance and it hit the damage cap. How do I know that? From that one swing only. If you look closely, there's a little gold explosion, a little yellow explosion behind the numbers. That is not an animation that you hit a crit chance. That is an animation that's telling you that you are at the damage cap and you need to add some damage cap sigils. How do you know you're hitting that critical hit chance? The critical hit chance is the 2 exclamation points. So those are the 2 ways that you could tell just from looking that you A, hit a critical hit, and B, you hit the damage cap. There's no question about either of those things. Another way that you could tell if you can't see that yellow is that you're hitting a lot of the same numbers. As you see, we're hitting 54797 very often. So that tells me right away that I am hitting the damage cap. Now, how are we going to fix that? Well, simply the only way is by upping your damage, or upping your damage cap. So, as you know from the title of the video, we're going to be adding some damage cap sigils. Now, I would recommend doing 1 to 2 damage caps at a time just to showcase it. We'll do 1 right now, so we could just showcase how 1 increases our damage. Now, we attack. We were doing about 54 before we were doing it about 50,000 before. Now we're doing 61,000. So as you see, if you look closely again, we are getting that little yellow again. So we're hitting the damage cap. If you want to just make sure you're going to stop at the perfect number, just keep going ahead and increasing your damage cap by 1 until eventually you reach that damage cap. Now we'll go ahead and add another one. Now go back into the training mode and we'll attack again. 65,000, 62,000, 63,000. So that's a good indication right there that we're not going to be hitting the damage cap every single time. So at this point, you could choose to stop, or you could choose to add some more damage increases into your build. So as you see, we are hitting the damage cap every once in a while. It's not like we're never hitting the damage cap. So at this point, I would say this is a decent place to stop adding damage cap and start adding some other sources of damage, such as increasing your weapons, increasing your mastery points, increasing so many other different ways. Or you can keep in mind that you could buff yourself as well. If you buff yourself with a skill, that will also apply to the damage cap. So now, if you see, we're going to be hitting the damage cap a lot more consistently. So if you have a character that has self-buffing skills, make sure you're testing that out as well. So you might be like, it's no reason for me to be carrying an attack buff if I'm just going to be hitting the damage cap on every single attack. So that is a good reason to not want to use buff skills in this game, unfortunately. A lot of the defense down and attack downs are kind of redundant since you're going to be hitting the damage cap so easily. So with that in mind, if you have a character that has a skill that increases your strength and you want to take advantage of that, then go ahead and add a little bit more to your damage cap. That way you're taking full advantage of your attack buff. But there's so many other sigils in this game that are very important. Even health is important. So do keep that in mind, that there is some give and take with it. But if you are planning on using attack buffs, do keep in mind that those do not raise your damage cap either. Now, if you want to be able to simply test out your buff without having to waste for it to restore every single time, you could go over here and fix your skill cooldowns. That way you can go ahead and keep spamming your skills very, very easily. Go down to there, restart with changes. That way you could make sure you're testing with your attack buff all the time. That's a good way to do that. Now, keep in mind that is going to be pretty much the only way for you to be raising your damage cap through the damage cap sigil. There is one other very, very, very important sigil that everybody needs in this game that will raise your damage as well. However, keep in mind that while this is technically one of the best sigils in the game, you also technically don't need it versus every boss. And I'm talking about the War Elemental sigil. What this sigil does, it says attacks count as the superior element except for plain element attacks. It doesn't say anything about raising the damage cap, right? Well, oddly enough, it still does raise the damage cap. I took it off just to show you what the current damage cap is. 68,596. Now, we'll go ahead and go to the training menu, hit gear, and go ahead and throw on War Elemental. We'll restart it, and then we'll see if we can hit even higher than that. Now we're hitting 74, 82, we're hitting up to 82,000 just by adding on that one simple thing. Now, as you see, we're still hitting the damage cap, so if you want to go ahead and throw more damage cap sigils on there just to see if you're going to ever not hit the damage cap, you could go ahead and add as many damage cap sigils as you think you need. Now we'll buff ourselves again, and let's see with all these damage caps, are we hitting the damage cap? See, even with all those damage cap sigils, we're still hitting the damage cap. However, look at how much damage we're doing now. 105,000. So, that's going to be up to you if you think that that is enough damage for you. But, again, remember, if we are hitting the damage cap through buffs, then that is your chance to be like, okay, well, if I'm hitting the damage cap through buffs, I suppose I should go ahead and remove one of these attack ones. Which one would I prefer to remove? We'll go ahead and read them. Minus HP. Doesn't sound too good. Maybe we'll get rid of the minus HP. Tyranny. We'll remove that one. And then we'll keep Life on the Line on. See how I like that? See if we still hit the damage cap. And you kind of just keep playing with it like this. You go ahead and throw your buff on before you attack. And then you start attacking, and then you see if I'm still hitting the damage cap. As you see, you hit it occasionally, not as often, but you are still hitting the damage cap even with this. So, in my opinion, if you're hitting the damage cap like pretty often at all, you really don't need to be wasting all of these extra slots on extra damage. If you're going to be hitting the damage cap anyway, they're kind of redundant. So we could take them all off, buff ourselves up again, and start attacking. And as you see, now we're still hitting the damage cap, even with all of this. So, that's pretty much it, guys. Again, pay attention to the little yellow. The little yellow will tell you if you're hitting the damage cap or not. And then just use skills and items that raise your damage cap, head into trading mode, and see if you're seeing that yellow. And that's pretty much it, guys. So, if you guys got helped out at all, feel free to hit me with a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.